it's me. Today I am going to do my second vlog, which is going to be talking about my miscarriage that I had. So that pregnancy was my first pregnancy, and it was completely different than I thought a pregnancy was going to be. I didn't really know I was pregnant. I didn't have any symptoms besides up to missing my period. The one thing that I did notice was that my gums were swollen, and that was the only thing I was like, oh, maybe that's a pregnancy sign, but maybe not. I was a little bit more tired. Sometimes I thought that I might be nauseous, but looking back, I'm like, maybe it was all in my head. I don't know. But I really was fine besides being pretty emotional. That would be my main thing. I was pretty emotional. My hormones must have been all over the place. But I didn't have any big symptoms all the way up until 9 weeks. 2 days before my 9-week mark, I started spotting. It came out of nowhere. I didn't have any cramps or anything. I was at work and I was like, what the heck? And I got really scared, and then of course I googled it and everybody was like, I spotted during my pregnancy and I'm very fine. And I was like, okay, maybe it's nothing. Kind of like made me not worry about it. And I called my doctor and she's like, well, we're gonna get you in. So I made an appointment for the next day at 1 o'clock. So the next day I woke up and I was still spotting, and a little bit more, not too much, but a little bit more. So then I started getting a little bit scared, and I was like calling my husband at work, and I was like really worried, and he's like, calm down, you said that people spot. And I was like, yeah, but whatever, I'm really scared. Then when something weird happened. We live in townhouses and my car is parked in the garage door shut. I was resting and I was laying in bed, and I had my phone alarm set so that I knew when I had to leave. And I'm just laying there listening to music and petting my dog. Like, that's what I was doing. I was totally being a downer. And so my alarm went off. I stood up to go, and all of my power in my building went off. And I was like, that's weird, the power went out. And I went down, grabbed my purse, went down to go leave in the dark, hit the garage door opener, nothing. Nothing. The power is out, so I can't get out. I call my husband, I start crying. By then, like, I was bleeding a little bit more, and I pretty much knew that I was having a miscarriage. I knew it in my heart that I was losing the baby. Once that hits you, you realize that you have no control over it happening. Like, it's happening so close to you in your body, and that's your baby, and it's dying, and you know it, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And then on top of it, I had another sense of having absolutely no control with the power going out. I literally sat on the floor and I was just like, you've got to be kidding. My sister-in-law, she was visiting her mom 45 minutes away, so she couldn't make it to get me. My husband is 45 minutes away at work. I have no power, nobody can help me, and I was just sitting on the ground crying. That was one of the lowest moments of my life, of just feeling like I have absolutely no control over anything right now. I was just like, God, this is where I am. This is where I am right now, and I've never felt so like set in place in my life. You could feel like you're wandering or you don't know where you are in life. I knew exactly where I was in that moment. I was sitting on the floor in my townhouse. The power was out. I was having a miscarriage, and I was just sitting there and knowing exactly where I was in life. I'll never forget that moment. And that was my day. I sat there. I couldn't call the doctor. I called them up and I started crying on the phone. So then I just hung up on them and I called my husband. I was like, I can't talk to anybody on the phone. You need to call and reschedule. So he called and rescheduled for the next morning. And I was like, by then it's gonna be too late. And so I went to the doctor and she did all of her tests and everything. Took my blood pressure. They did an ultrasound inside, which is so gross. TMI, there was blood everywhere, and I told her too. I was like, are you sure you want to do that? There's blood everywhere, and I was kind of laughing about it. Like, thankfully my husband was there, and I was in pretty good spirits. I had such a low moment of my life the day before that I felt like I had grieved. And with my husband there, like, he's such a great guy, and he really kept my spirits up. I don't know what I would have done if I went without him. So I was kind of laughing about it, like, are you sure? And so she's like, yep, I'm a doctor. I see blood all the time. I was like, okay. We saw the sac with the baby, and there was no heartbeat. And she's like, yeah, this is a miscarriage. But she's like, we can't know for sure if it's a miscarriage until we take your blood today, and then we'll take it again on Monday, and we'll see if your HCG levels have dropped. I don't remember my numbers. They were at whatever, really high, and then on Monday when I went again, they were significantly dropped into the hundreds. So that was definitely confirmation for a miscarriage. So on Friday, once we got to the doctor, I started having terrible cramps. I cannot express how bad these cramps were. It literally felt like somebody was squeezing my uterus like this and just like ripping me apart. They were so bad, like a couple times at the doctor's office, I thought I was going to pass out. It's probably the worst pain I've ever been in my life. Like I almost passed out in the car while it was happening. Like, I just could not move. So when I got home, I just like curled up in a ball. It came in waves too. Like, it never went away, but I would say like it was like the worst it could ever be, and here's nothing. So here's my nothing. I'm completely fine, and it would peak as like the worst pain in my life, and then it would dip down to about here, and that would be my dull moment, and it still like was really bad. And then it would go up like it was probably every 10 to 15 minutes. The whole day. I don't know if you had a miscarriage or what, but the baby comes out. I got to see the baby this big. Once that baby came out, that was a hard moment. I didn't know what to do for a while. I just kind of stared at it, and then my doctor told me that was going to happen. She's like, just flush it down the toilet, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna flush it down the toilet, and I was just kind of like, here it goes, and I flushed it down the toilet, and it was like, there it goes, and it was the most, like, I don't know how to explain it, like, my body had never felt so empty. Like, I didn't realize it, like, since I didn't have that many symptoms, and it's so gradual that I didn't realize, and like, that was like the worst feeling ever. Like, I never felt so empty. Like, you know, people don't tell you that. They don't say like, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna grieve emotionally. You're gonna grieve because you were in so much pain. And on top of all that, your body is going to grieve. So I bled really bad from Friday all the way till Sunday. Those days were really bad. I pretty much bled all day for 3 days. So yeah, that all happened, and on Monday it kind of let up, and on Tuesday I actually took a trip down to Florida, which was where my family is, and it was much needed, because at that moment I felt so alone, and I needed my mommy, so I got to go spend a lot of time with my mom and my family, and everybody knew. Like, it was so weird. Like, I hadn't even like really like announced my pregnancy to anybody. Yeah, I wanted to do it in person because I was going down to Florida, so that was really sad. I was like, I was gonna come down with the best news ever, and now I come down with the worst news ever. Like, terrible. So that is my miscarriage story. Well, 2 days of spotting, 3 days of really bad bleeding, followed by 5 days of spotting. But there's good news. I keep telling myself this, that there's good news, and that is I can get pregnant. I would say that that's a good sign. My body is working. I am still taking my prenatal multivitamins, but on top of that I'm also using this. And this is a cream. You can put it on anywhere in your body. It's a hormone balance. And it also helps with thickening your uterus wall. So if that was the problem, then that will be fixed to keep your baby tight and strong. One thing that I noticed is that my miscarriage happened when my period would have come. So that could be one of the reasons, is that my body was in mode to have a period, and it looked at the baby and said, "You're an egg," and got rid of it. That's a sign of needing this. And another sign of being low on this hormone is that you did not have symptoms during your pregnancy. Your body wasn't giving your baby enough nutrients because it wasn't seeing it as a baby. So that's another sign that you need this. The good thing about this is that if you don't need it, it does no harm at all. I basically use about a dime size, and I rub it on my abdomen. You can put it anywhere, it says, but my mother-in-law and also my friend's mom, they both told me to apply it to my abdomen. So that's what I do twice a day, morning and afternoon. Let me know if any of you guys use any type of cream like this or anything else that you recommend. But if you guys have any other ideas of things that I could use, because we're gonna start trying again. It's time. Wish me luck.